Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, kids, eh? Give them a PlayStation for Christmas and you can't even tear them away to go shooting. Well, we've found one outfit that can do it. The Oxford Gun Company is taking kids live game shooting. First, 2011. It was the year that Fieldsports Channel grew up. Here are some of the highlights. January. We start at the beginning and fox fever. Following the shooting of the monster of Maidstone, the media coverage was incredible. He went global and the Antis thought it was a pro-hunting stunt by us to help fan the flames of the Boxing Day meets. But no, this enormous urban fox just had great timing.
Just to give you a direct comparison, I mean, you can see that boy is an awful lot bigger.
So, not wanting to miss out on an opportunity, we asked for evidence of your large fox triumphs. And eventually it was Dennis Rousel from Somerset who walked away with the Rivers West Jacket prize. Big cats also made an appearance in January when we joined sporting rifle editor Peter Carr on his quest to tranquillise a large moggy thought to be taking sheep in Wales.
There's been reports of a big cat and plenty of killings of stock here. I was quite sceptical at first, but some colleagues gave a bit of credence to the big cat killings. So I came down and had a look. I had a word with some of the guys before I came down here, and they were quite convinced, and they have been losing stock. So I came down, had a look, and prepared to give it a try for a week to see if we could catch up with this cat.
He used African plains techniques to try and lure out the animal. Alas, the carcass received plenty of attention from the local wildlife, but no cats. Winter is when Roy Lupton gets to play with his stunning golden eagles. We went after hares on the Kingsclear estate in Hampshire. Atos, the Vizsla, certainly put in the hours, covering an enormous amount of ground to produce moments like this. Now, when the beat is a beat, you can always bring in the cavalry. Here's a novel way of getting the ducks off the pond. A shoot in Norfolk wanted to give the local servicemen something back, and the estate donated a day's shooting to those lucky to be home from Afghanistan.
The hosts wanted to see one, so it's the least we could do, considering what they've provided for us. This is a combat vehicle reconnaissance tracked Spartan, and it's an armoured personnel carrier that we use in my regiment.
From the pheasants in the south to geese in the north, in February we visited the Wigtown Bay wildfowlers to hear about the work they'd done to improve the wetlands for the benefit of all up there. But with little hope of shooting anything in very strong winds, we found a muddy puddle to lay down in. With the skein way out of range, a straggler attracts our attention.
Oh, beautiful!
That was really shifting on in that wind. It was the best goose I've ever shot.
It was a bit warmer in Spain, where we went that month to play at a Land Rover Discovery Centre with JCB. We tested a range of gamekeeper-friendly UTVs by getting a professional rally driver to put them through their paces. It's tough terrain there for vehicles that get a real battering over here. March. March is when Andy Crowman Crow made his Fieldsports Channel debut. His reputation as crop protector is well deserved. He's been supplying us with stories ever since and getting used to building bigger and bigger hides to accommodate us all. Whatever the season, whatever the quarry, Andy has years of experience and hundreds of acres of farmland to keep safe from pigeons, rabbits, foxes, deer and geese. Another great man we've been sharing a hide with is George Digweed. He has had the most incredible 2011. Not surprising when you see for yourself how talented he is. Dom Holtham joined us on this occasion, having just taken over the reins as editor of Sporting Shooter magazine from James Marchington.
So you were saying that it's similar to rifle shooting, you have an aim point, and that is the head of the bird or the front of a clay target. Exactly the same.
I had to stop you there when I got one coming. Sorry, I did have one coming.
Quite an education. March is also when the goodies, soon to be heading for our shops, are sourced by the shooting trade in Nuremberg. The gun trade show IWA is full of the weird and wonderful. This year, Dom took us on a tour. The Fleer Scout caught his eye.
I don't know if you remember the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Predator, but that Alien technology is about to come to the consumer hunting market, courtesy of the FLIR Scout. This is the first consumer affordable thermal night vision camera, and we're about to have a play with it.
And later in the year, we went playing with it for real.
Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. I'm Phil Spencer.
In April, TV presenter Phil Spencer was kind enough to present our programme. To be honest, I needed to catch up with a few things, and well, Kirsty was busy. He wanted to have a go at pigeon shooting, and Andy obliged.
I said I'll just put my gun down and have a cup of tea. In come the pigeons. And not only that, he then drop them on my bloody head.
It wasn't a massive day, but there was more in store when Phil bagged his first ever deer, which kept the Spencer household in venison over Easter.
It's my first deer. Came out beside us. It was a pretty tricky shot and walked almost under us.
It did, walk within yards of us.
It kept very still and managed to get a cheeky shot on a slightly difficult angle. Didn't actually think that I'd hit it because it didn't sound like I'd hit it.
Well, when it surprises that,
It cluttered off and I thought, I've missed my chance.
The crazy weather in April 2011 meant bringing out the barbecue recipes early. Sporting shooter chef Mark Gilchrist created some delicious fare, including preparing a beautiful rod-caught bass. Venison burgers and rabbit were enjoyed by one and all. April is when I filmed with Don Heath, a professional hunter from Zimbabwe, now sharing his expertise with Norma Ammunition in Sweden. He gave us a graphic description of dealing with dangerous game from charging buffalo to a man-eating lion.
The British soldiers and the American soldiers are taught and trained that there is no such thing as mission failure. Always complete the mission no matter what. And then when you are injured and medically discharged, you gain a sense of failure, like you're not good enough now to carry on the mission. That's very depressing and demoralizing.
In May, Fieldsports Britain was out with Fishing for Heroes and its American counterpart charity Project Healing Waters on lakes and rivers in the south of England. We also paid a visit to the Benelli Sporto clay competition at the West London Shooting School, where the Benelli Challenge always brings out the competitive spirit in people.
Pretty good. 8.18. 8.18 is my best. Yeah. Woohoo! Under pressure.
This was the year we launched our clay shooting programme, Clay Sports TV. As it's the off-season, it's a good time to get a bit of dog training in to keep them on the ball. Roy showed us how to dizzy doves.
There's all sorts of different ways of dizzying pigeons. This is just a very quick, simple way. And then all you do is you take said pigeon and you put it on the ground with his head under his wing, and then what we do when the dogs come on point, all we do is we roll the pigeon over and then remove his head from under his wing. He wakes up, let him get his bearings a little bit, and then go in for flushing.
This technique allows him to deliver controlled flushes and is good for young and more experienced dogs. After the doves, we went on a fox foray and continued in our quest for good daytime footage of fox shooting. It was a very successful afternoon, finishing up with this long-range shot. June. On this particular calendar, June equals Miss Switzerland. Not in my dreams, but in the flesh. Brought up fishing on the banks of alpine rivers with her father. She can certainly put a maggot on my hook whenever she likes. And there are lots of jokes about rods and flies that are simply not worth making. The fabulous weather continued and the sun shone on as we joined Charles Jardine and the Countryside Alliance for their project Fishing for Schools.
Okay, and tap forward. Brilliant. That's it. That's all you need to do.
The initiative gets pupils who maybe don't enjoy the academic stuff quite as much and has them negotiating fly fishing. If all classrooms were as inspirational as this, everyone would leave school properly educated. We had some fun with the aunties this month when we were handed a tape which showed a fox release pen owned by the Fox Project, which is based in Kent. Inside were some young cubs plus tins of dog food. Once again, the ignorance of animal welfare organisations is highlighted. How can an orphaned animal be fed and released and survive in the wild? In this case, the local chicken population supplied the easy pickings for those uneducated foxes. Mark Gilchrist and Crowman went looking for foxes on a driven day in July. Standing on Andy's combine, Mark kept his eyes peeled for running game. Sadly, the only thing running was his nose and eyes from all the dust. George went looking for pigeons with his mate, Kent County cricket captain Rob Key. When they weren't taking the mick out of each other, they were knocking down some birds as well. George even presented the programme for us. July is Game Fair season. This year's CLA Game Fair was set at the grounds surrounding Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. It was a huge success, with nearly 150,000 people spending money and having a wonderful time. It's certainly one of the greatest shows on earth and a real show of united field sports strength in this country. August and the glorious 12th, we visited a moor in Yorkshire to gauge the mood before heading to Scotland and the East Hock House Hotel to join a party enjoying the day in style. Thanks to Subaru, the newly crowned McStig tried to shoot a grouse and get it off the moor and prepare the first bird of the season for the table. Thanks to all in Pitlochry for being so helpful and hospitable. August also meant the Row Rut this year. Roy again gave us a great demonstration about how it is done. Although we bagged a lovely looking buck, the girls were the ones putting on a show. It's a time of the year we really look forward to. Roy was also excited about the crops coming off and the chance for a bumper foxing night. It ended up being a 21 fox salute. There was even talk of there being 2 litters per vixen this year, as the number of foxes seems to have exploded.
Just for all of the agencies and rescue centres and whatever else that say that you'll only have a very small amount of foxes holding one territory. Absolute pish. I mean, the amount of foxes that we saw out there tonight, I've never seen anything like it before.
And we can never resist a bit of anti-baiting. Someone anonymously sent in footage of 2 senior antis from the League Against Cruel Sports trespassing in woods looking for hidden cameras they had put out earlier in an attempt to catch people fox hunting. They were filmed on one of their own cameras and, we are told, all they find is a piece of paper which reads, "If you want your cameras back, they're on eBay." September was the ratting month. We followed Roy's attempts to eradicate his own large rat population. He tried everything from smoke and shotguns to terriers to air rifles. This eventually led to a digger getting involved, not subtle but effective, and Roy still has nightmares about flying rodents. At the end of September, we visited the first Bisley Live show. We caught up with George, whose shooting display suddenly turned into a world record.
130 yards. Just for you, David. Ho!
What a superhuman performance.
That just gives you the idea of how far a shotgun will kill. Anyway, adios. That's the furthest I've ever done. I did one in America at 118. But definitely the conditions help. Hot, warm day, shot flies further. Nice, there's no wind, so there's a nice straight target. You've got to read the line. The other thing is you've got to remember that at that range the shot's dropping so much that I've got to drop the shot into the target as well as work out where I'm going to shoot it. So it's not just shooting at the target. You've got to drop your shot in there and everything. So anyway, quite a good one. I'm glad you were filming it.
Now, fishing is something we need to do more of, and here's why. We had a great time with Dom Holtham fishing for barbel and zander on the Trent. Thankfully, the chaps delivered, and we got some nice shots of this fascinating predator. October saw us celebrate our 100th programme, and thank you for all your well-wishing. Here are a few of the outtakes involving the people who make our work so enjoyable.
Willkommen, bienvenue. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
That's a good one.
I can't say it in any other voice. It's my voice.
I've been in contact with most animals on this earth, and the only animals that actually scare me. I know, it doesn't it? All right, we'll do.
Teaching Tinkerbell.
Here's an England rugby player being. Here's an England rugby player being. I can't say the word rugby player.
Okay, cool.
I can't work with these people. Okay, we've all got egos. It's okay.
Oh no! You have killed me. And look forward to next week's Oh, you.
How many rubbers do you go through in a season?
How many rubbers? How many rubber bands? Or
Look at that. The matches are gonna. Sorry, the matches have to come out in the edit.
If this makes the edit, I'm never talking to you again. It's Britain News. Stalking the stories, fishing for... If everything comes together, pigeon shooting can be huge fun and deliver enormous bags.
I've been expecting.
what's up? You got one there, David?
No.
What's up with you?
What's he shouting at?
He was screaming! What are you been screaming at?
Okay, go. If everything comes together, it might be best if you're not there, to be honest.
Sick of working with amateurs. Sick of it, David. Fast love.
If everything comes together, pigeon shooting can be huge fun and deliver enormous bags. It's you, it's not me.
And that's been Fieldsports Britain for another exciting episode this week. I'm Mark Gilchrist. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm sorry that they've been putting me off.
During October, we were sent a fox whistle from Australia. Ron and Pete wanted Roy to put it through its paces. It produced great results, and on its first outing delivered a couple of nice examples. November and foxes were back on the menu. Mark Gilchrist got people hot under the collar by shooting a white fox. The farmer Mark was working for didn't really care what colour it was. He has livestock to protect. We have been working with Norma Ammunition for a lot of the year, and this is the month we were at last able to show you what goes into making their 105 different calibers at their factory in Sweden. And I was allowed to release the inner child. It wasn't just ballistic gel we were playing with. We were in Scotland again after red stags. What an amazing country we live in. And with December just around the corner, we got some great footage courtesy of Andy Crow. And I believe certain members of the Fieldsports Channel workforce have enjoyed the fruits of Andy's labours on the 25th. And finally, December. In search of a double-barrelled rifle, we joined Roy in France at the Chapuis factory to see the craftsmanship that goes into creating such a pretty gun. We also looked at just what happens when a bullet hits a fox, the X-rays revealing all. And that pretty much brings us up to date. If you've only just discovered us, then please have a look through the archive, and if you're struggling to think of a New Year's resolution, how about I must tell all my friends about Fieldsports Channel. And if, like a banker with gym membership, you failed to get past January 2012, just go to fieldsportschannel.tv, scroll down to the bottom, pop your email address into our constant contact box, and we'll remind you every week. Thanks for watching. 2011 was quite a year for us. 2012, we're going supersonic. We're going to Africa, America, Australia. Tell us where you live, maybe we'll come and see you. Now, one of our innovations in 2011 was the Fieldsports Channel News Stump. Let's go there now.
This is Fieldsports Britain News. On the 7th Boxing Day since the Hunting Act was passed, more than 250,000 people attended 300 hunt meets. Speaking at the kennels of the Fitzwilliam Hunt in Cambridgeshire, Agriculture and Food Minister Jim Pace said that the current law simply doesn't work. We will have a free vote on whether to repeal the Act when there is time in the parliamentary calendar to do so. Animal rights campaigners have successfully had horse-drawn carriages banned from the streets of Oxford. Kevin Mary Carriages wanted to run tourist trips on Sundays, but multi-million-dollar US-based animal rights organisation PETA provided local councillors with a petition against carriage driving. Deer, stoats, badgers, weasels and otters are starting to adopt an urban lifestyle. That's the conclusion of a report by an outfit called People's Trust for Endangered Species. Its Living with Mammals survey says that many normally shy rural species are now setting up home in Britain's towns and cities. Roe and muntjac have moved into urban areas, and badgers are often spotted near railway lines. Staying with badgers, and the overpopulation is at last about to see some control. Thanks to bovine TB, which badgers carry, the government has authorised badger culling in 2 areas, and it will start in late autumn. Because of fear of attack by antis, the government has also put in place a £4 million security operation. And finally, superstar George Digweed has launched his own champagne. The fizz is 100% Pinot Noir, which brings out the roundness and fruitiness of this grape variety. It's available in white and rosé and is of course a great addition to any shoot or celebration. Cheers George, Happy New Year. You're now up to date with Fieldsports Britain news. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now, let's give guns to some children and see what happens. We are in the south of England at the Oxford Gun Company's shooting school for the final event of the Schools Challenge 2011. All year, the Schools Challenge has run clay competitions for schools and school and college kids. It has held training days for young shots. And this is what it all leads up to, the game day. It's a 2-day extravaganza of shooting. On day 1, around 30 kids learn not just safe shooting, but what to wear, game day etiquette, beating, picking up, dog work, all the many and various skills that make up a day's shooting. On day 2, they go to a nearby estate and put all that into practice. Of course, they could just turn up to the shoot, but they get so much more out of it when they see there is more to shooting than simply going bang.
Today is really to get the youngsters involved in game shooting. A lot of them, or some of them, can shoot clays but never shot game before. Some people have never actually shot before, or if they have, they've only shot once or twice. So we'll teach them how to shoot game, but also about the etiquette of shooting, right from beating, picking up, how to dress, and the whole package.
There is no doubt they are getting plenty out of what is really a school day.
The instructors are nice. They're being really helpful, helping us out with mounting the gun, seeing if we can do everything right, ready for tomorrow when we do the actual thing.
It's been loads of fun. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. So I want to get a few pheasants.
By the end of day 1, the guns are eager to get going with the real thing. Jamie Nicholson, who runs the shooting at Kirtlington, is on hand to tell them what to expect.
We could lay on vast numbers of more pheasants and shoot 400, 500 birds a day, but we think it's wrong. We think it's actually hostile to the country. It loses the point. People just start counting the numbers of cartridges they shoot, the numbers of pheasants they shoot. They forget the reason why they're there.
It's good fun.
Running a shoot for this many novice children would make any shoot owner apprehensive. However, Jamie just wants the kids to have a good and safe time. I caught up with him before the shoot day to ask him just how sensible it is to allow kids with guns on his land.
When David asked us whether we would do it, I think that the principal reason why we said yes was because we obviously also share the same interest of trying to encourage young people to take up shooting. I understand today we're going to have nearly 30 children wandering around in teams of 3, one beating, one picking up, one shooting. I hope we can make it work without turning into a complete shambles, which knowing this place it might well do. But we will certainly do our best, and I think it's thoroughly to be encouraged.
Back at the Oxford Gun Company, there is retail. The young guns finish the day by warming up their parents' credit cards, purchasing a few last-minute essentials from the on-site gun shop.
disperse into your
It is 7:30 the following morning, and these dedicated young guns meet back at the Oxford Gun Company for their big day. Thanks to Stratstone Land Rover of Cheltenham, the young guns can travel to Kirtlington House in the same style as any Russian oligarch.
I think it's very important. It's putting something back into what all the young lads are doing. It does show what the Land Rovers perform like on a day like today, and they're just suited. It's like with the Browning guns, and Land Rover really goes hand in hand with the day.
Once there, they meet the gamekeeper, and they split into 3 groups: beaters, pickers up, and guns. These teams will rotate throughout the day, so everyone does everything for 2 drives.
Remember what we said, no ground game whatsoever, especially foxes. Right? If you're in doubt, don't shoot it.
We follow a team, first beating, then picking up. Whatever they do, it is tiring work, and all of them look forward to a welcome break of nice, hot sausages. Finally, it's time for this group of young guns to get a turn at shooting. With an instructor on hand for each gun, this is a wonderfully measured way into game shooting.
So you see all over the news, especially the BBC news, that youngsters are dangerous and they shouldn't be shooting. Young shots or under 14-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to have shotgun licences. There are probably 8 here today that are under 14. I haven't seen anyone do anything dangerous. What's wrong with it? And I should think, out of that 8, 4 or 5 of them have got shotgun certificates. So what's the problem with under 14s having shotgun certificates? It's safe. They're probably more safer than some of the adults that go out.
Another big sponsor today is Bonart Clothing.
It's been a fantastic day, great fun, everyone's had a good time. We've had some good sporting birds and everyone's really enjoyed the day. One area that we have expanded out an awful lot in the past 6 or 7 years is into children's clothing, and obviously this being the school's challenge game day, it made perfect sense and a great opportunity to help support this event.
The end of the day brings its own set of traditions. Guns admire the bag and are delighted to be told how many they shot. Then there is tipping the keeper and collecting a brace. Parents are warned about this, so it should not have to come out of pocket money. And finally, there is the debrief from shoot organiser David Florent.
I think this is probably the best group of people we've had so far. You were all very safe, all listened. We're in the right place at the right time. So, a round of applause for everyone.
It has been another successful year for the Schools Challenge, which has brought thousands of young people to the sport of shooting. The Oxford Gun Company really doing an incredible amount of work getting kids shooting. Well, we're back next week, next year. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. It's on the outside of the screen there, or go to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter, or scroll down to the bottom of the page where you'll see the constant contact email box. You can pop your email address in there and we'll contact you constantly about our programme, which is back next week, next year, with a raft of new sponsors, thanks to you, all of you, watching us in 2011.